Round 6 of the Euroformula Open in 2023 continues with race 2 from the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. 5.793 kilometers lie in wait for these drivers looking to make a mark on the single-seater racing scene, move up the order, and on the route to Formula One. One man who certainly seems to be on the route up the ladder is our championship leader, Noel Leon, who took his 6th victory of the season yesterday in treacherous conditions as the rain suddenly started thundering down right before the start of the race and prompting a very late change over to wet tyres. No such weather dramas today. It is beautiful, clear, blue skies here at Monza, but Noel Leon will have to do the job today from 6th, as this is the first of our 2 top 6 reverse grid races as the cars make their way over to the grid now. My name is Chris Stevens. Alongside me is George Morgan. George, I'm looking forward to this one.
So am I, Chris. It's going to be stellar, and obviously after yesterday's unfortunate scenario with the weather battering down and the track very quickly going from what was, should we say, just seemingly damp to all of a sudden becoming sodden. And quite frankly, I mean, you want a characteristic as anything, it was like a river. But nonetheless, the cars managed to find their way around. We had green flag racing for approximately 2 laps, and then the safety car had to come out in order to try and control the pace and obviously manage the safety. The race director, as obviously explained by that of Noel Leon, was actually did a sensational job in managing the circumstances that were certainly in front of us for that first race yesterday. This time around, we go racing in race 2, and obviously Noel Leon, despite starting P6, he's been in this position before. Naturally, if you're starting P6 at this point, it means you're doing something right. Francesco Simonazzi, though, will also be looking for a big result this weekend. He will, of course, be starting on pole as well for the later race, this time around starting in P3. And he's got Levente Ravesh and Kian Shields to deal with.
Yes, well, what I will say, George, as well, is that he's starting right behind Joshua Dufek, who on his debut weekend in the championship at Red Bull Ring was able to keep Noel Leon at bay far longer than anybody else has all season long. And of course, he finished second in yesterday's slightly shortened race in terms of the actual racing laps that we got in after we needed quite a bit of intervention from the safety car on safety grounds, and all the right calls being made by race control there. But it will be Kian Shields, the man second in the championship, the young Scotsman who is on reverse grid pole for this one. And of course, he took victory at Red Bull Ring last time out, denied Noel Leon the perfect weekend, who had been the fastest in practice, had pole position, winner of the first 2 races, but Kian Shields denied him by fending off Noel Leon in that 3rd and final race of the weekend. And today Kian Shields goes from pole position in this reverse grid race. If you're new to the Euroformula Open, we have 3 races in the weekend, the first being set by the result of qualifying, the second being the race 1 result, top 6 reversed, and then race 3 is the top 6 in qualifying reversed. So that means that Noel Leon will line up 6th in this afternoon's race as well, of course. And there we saw the young Mexican just getting into his grid slot, the Motorpark Run car. There's a look at Kian Shields, the Scotsman who will lead from pole position today. You can always spot Kian Shields with that bright yellow helmet of his, second in the championship at the moment with 3 wins to his name. And still only in his 2nd season of single-seater racing, having come over to Europe from the GB3 Championship. Levente Ravesh chucked in the deep end here on his first weekend in the championship. He's on the front row of the grid. Another driver to come over from the Formula Regional Championship, as indeed Josh Dufek and Charlie Wirtz have done as well. The signature heart symbol there for Francesco Simonazzi, lining up in 3rd place. And this is the car we were just talking about, Charlie Wirtz for Crypto Tower, the Austrian, starting on the 2nd row of the grid.
Yeah, son of Alexander Wirtz, Formula One driver, and has the same aspirations, Charlie Wirtz, and has made it certainly no secret that he wants to pursue you know, effectively a jump up to Formula 3, as many of these drivers do. Of course, we've got great legacies of that in this championship. Josh Dufek will also be trying to obtain the same accolade as well. We'll have to wait and see whether he does achieve this. And obviously, has had a rampant time in the Formula Regional, actually stealing Francesco Simonazzi's heart-shaped symbol there as well. But great to see Josh Dufek out on the grid. Here's our championship leader, Noel Leone, fresh off the back of a stellar run at Red Bull Ring. He's going to look to try and achieve the same again this time. Obviously was the one who came out and said how well the race director managed the race yesterday. Didn't have a lot to say about the race, but that was because there was merely not really that much racing involved. He was stuck behind the safety car for quite some time, but obviously the points, I'm sure, will go a long way towards his championship charge, with Bryce Aaron starting 7th.
Yeah, yesterday was very much a race of survival, wasn't it? And we saw a few drivers come close to skating off the road, but I was extremely impressed by the talent and skill of these young drivers who were able to face such adverse conditions. And we managed to get away with next to no incidents. And this is what happened in yesterday's race. We ended up starting behind the safety car after it just started absolutely pouring down right as we were ready to go on the grid. The cars had slick tyres on and had to make the change to wets. When we did get underway, you couldn't see for naught, but Josh Dufek did try and make a move around the outside of Noel Leon as Charlie Wirtz had to take to the escape road at the first corner. Noel Leon started to pull away, but had a massive swapper out of the second Lesmo, and that gave Dufek a bit of a run on him, but he was still able to fend off the other Motorpark Run car. A few cars did struggle to make the first corner. Simonazzi certainly was one of them, and plenty of drivers having to take to the escape road. Keane Shields was one of them, and I believe Bryce Aaron was the other. And that actually allowed Simonazzi to climb up a couple of places into 4th, just missing out on the podium. And then the rain got more and more intense, and that meant we had to red flag the race, and that put Noel Leon out on top. This is what it's done to the championship standings then. He now leads by 79 points to Keane Shields, with Bryce Aaron still there in 3rd place, but 11 points back. Francesco Simonazzi closing down slightly. He's in 4th, only 4 points behind Bryce Aaron now.
Well, Noel Leone with a great chance here, as always, to take the title. Obviously, with only a small matter of Mugello and Barcelona after this particular round. Take us through the grid, Chris.
Yep, Keane Shields lines up on reverse grid, pole position, then alongside the debutant Levente Revesh on the front row of the grid. Francesco Simonazzi and Charlie Wirtz line up on the 2nd row of the grid. Then it's Josh Dufek and yesterday's race winner Noel Leon, and Bryce Aaron, the American, lines out this field. And yes, Noel Leon very much approaching a stage where he could put one hand on the trophy. It could well be wrapped up at Mugello in just a week's time before we head to Barcelona at the end of October. We're in the middle of a very intense period for the Euroformula Open because, of course, we were at Red Bull Ring just 2 weeks ago, this weekend, and then Mugello next weekend as well. The race is becoming thick and fast, but there will be a couple of weeks break before the Barcelona finale.
Yeah, enjoyed taking his 5th pole consecutively this season as well, Noel Leone. As we take a look down at Keane Shields, of course, victor in race 3 back at Red Bull Ring. He, of course, has had his own trials and tribulations this season, but has since found himself 2nd in the championship and trying to close down on Noel Leone. It's still a stiff task ahead, but I'm sure he'll have the tenacity to achieve that. Plenty of those in the garages watching on as well, the families included, connections with the drivers who are watching on and cheering on there. Well, certainly those behind the helmets and those behind the wheels as they look now to get set to go again. Of course, formation lap will be up first. Timo Renfkarl, you can see team boss there just observing proceedings at this stage. Obviously, lots to be discovered here this weekend at Monza. We've still got 2 races to come, including this one. Points mean prizes, and Keane Shields knows that for a fact. And with that points deficit of just over 70 points, it's time to certainly to try and maximise his opportunities, and he knows that more than anybody, Chris.
He certainly does, and in fact, all of Keane Shields' victories so far this season have come in the 3rd and final race of the weekend. He's taken 3 of them at Spa, Paul Ricard and Red Bull Ring. So we'll see what he can do today from reverse grid pole. For me, it was the start he made at Red Bull Ring in the third race of the weekend that was the most astonishing thing. Just went straight through the middle of the cars either side of him from third on the grid. It was an almighty getaway for him. Now, of course, speaking of the starts, that was one thing we didn't have to contend with yesterday, getting underway under safety car conditions. So for Levente Revesh, this is going to be his first competitive standing start in one of these cars, and we saw how Charlie Wirtz and Josh Dufek needed a couple of races to sort of adapt to the starting procedure in one of these cars compared to the Formula Regional cars that they come over from.
Yeah, absolutely right indeed. There is a difference. Obviously, we allude to the Formula Regional chassis that obviously Charlie Wirtz and Josh Dufek would have utilised in the past. The starting system vastly different to that of the Dallara 320, so it's something for them to get used to. But nevertheless, once they get going, the drivers obviously allude to the fantastic abilities of this car to race wheel to wheel, also because of its light and nimble shape, obviously the chassis itself being able to offer all sorts to the drivers, who obviously we look at the likes of Francesco Simonazzi, who likes to get the rear out from underneath him when it comes to taking the corners. We saw him aquaplaning through Ascari yesterday and really giving a show, and it was certainly a pleasure to watch.
Yes, it's one of the last single-seaters that you can continue to race in, contemporary single-seaters, that it weighs under 600 kilos. And not only does it mean that the drivers absolutely love racing them, but it makes for great wheel-to-wheel action as well. Every driver who's come over into this championship just raves about how much they love the car, and it is certainly one of the beasts left at the F3 level, and we certainly enjoy watching them go wheel-to-wheel, which we often see even with some slightly smaller grids sometimes, but no short on action, that's for sure. Cian Shields about to pull up into the pole position slot on the left-hand side of the grid, on the right-hand side as we will be looking at it. And the Scotsman pulls up into position there, very carefully choosing the spot. There's slight smoke coming off the brakes by the looks of it, but we're about to get underway for the second race of the weekend for the Euroformula Open Championship. Cian Shields and Levente Revesh on the front row of the grid. Noel Leon's engineer Kai watching on nervously as the green flag is waved at the back, and we are about to get underway for race 2 in the Euroformula Open, round 6 from Monza. It's lights out, and Cian Shields pulls away very nicely in deal to Francesco Simonazzi. Looks like he might have second place sorted already in the slipstream of the pole sitter, and trying to draw clear of Revesh on the outside there, the BVM racing driver. Oh, look at Charlie Wirtz steaming up the inside and makes contact, and Simonazzi has to take to the escape road, but Wirtz comes out in second place there. Simonazzi taking the long way around the polystyrene barriers, and he's come out dead last.
Oh, not useful at all for Francesco Simonazzi. Wirtz going very aggressive, locking up the brakes at the front end, and unfortunately finding himself careering into the cars. Thankfully, though, no such damage, I don't think, on the car, but we'll have to wait and see. Charlie Wirtz now side by side already here with Bryce Aaron in through the Rodge. Here, side by side action further down as well, involving Levente Revesh, as well as that of Joshua Dufek, who unfortunately has come out worse in that fracas further back, but as now the cars make their way through the first and second Lesmo, they'll peel through. It's still on top, Cian Shields, Wirtz in second, and also in third place, Bryce Aaron, who has managed to certainly hold on to his position despite the issues at turn 1.
Yeah, Bryce Aaron, the white wing-tipped car that we can see there in third place, the young American. He's made up a bit of ground. Noel Leon holds 6th place at the moment, so he's staying where he started. I wonder if anything will be said about that very aggressive manoeuvre from Charlie Wirtz, steaming up the inside into the first corner, which I think is going to be just a slipstreaming festival all race long. As we see here, Josh Dufek trying to get around the outside of Revesh now, and the long way around Parabolica, and he gets it done. So that is Dufek up into 4th place, but Revesh, I'm sure, is going to try and come back at him, and Noel Leon will want to get in on this as well. Now, what has happened to Francesco Simonazzi? He's in the pits, so we've lost him, unfortunately. And look at this, Charlie Wirtz going for the lead of the race now. Cian Shields defending to the inside. Wirtz is going to have to go the long way round, but finds himself the line into the second corner, and Charlie Wirtz takes the lead.
Fantastic move from Charlie Wirtz, and I tell you what, it was measured, calculated, he pulled it off and has now lurched forward ahead of Cian Shields, but Shields is going to come back at him around the Curva Grande. Inside as well will become the outside in towards the Rogier. Wirtz though, holding on to the inside, a squeeze now as we see 3 cars tangling here as Bryce Aaron joins in the fray. Wirtz holds on to the lead here, Cian Shields denying as well. Bryce Aaron at every turn, coming together again now as they venture through the Lesmo. Wirtz though holding position, but Bryce Aaron now also under pressure from Josh Dufek.
Yeah, Wirtz had to take to the escape road at the second part of the chicane. Noel Leon still at the back of this queue of cars. He's trying to find a way through, and this is Simonazzi. It looks like there might be some damage on that front right corner because of the dramatics we saw at the first corner. Now look at this. So this is Bryce Aaron under pressure from Josh Dufek on the inside of Ascari, and the more they squabble, the more they're going to let the top 2 get away. The slipstream here is going to be so important. Here's what happened with Wirtz. So he's steamed up the inside, and look, there was definitely contact to Simonazzi's car.
Looks like it is actually. Looks like there's something off.
Front wing for sure.
Yeah.
Front wing for sure, probably suspension as well. This is how Wirtz took the lead. Lovely move around the outside of the first corner, and was able to just hold his ground into the second chicane. But seconds out, round 2, again, between these guys, side by side for third place behind them as well, as Dufek has now found himself the inside line for the chicane, and Shields trying to take the lead back again. So on the outside line, that's how Wirtz took the lead a lap ago, but he can't do anything with it there. Still side by side between Bryce Aaron and Josh Dufek, and Dufek just pulling ahead there as we see Noel Leon trying to get around Levente Revesh there for 5th place, and has to tuck back into the slipstream. Now can he find himself the inside line for the next chicane? No, he cannot, as Shields had a little look there as well. Still not over in the battle for 3rd place. There is there's locking brakes and locking tyres. Shields has to take to the escape road, as does Noel Leon.
He certainly does. Wirtz under now significant pressure. Cian Shields has not left his rear wing whatsoever, as now they continue to billow through the first and second Lesmo. In behind, we have, of course, got Josh Dufek, who has done well to keep Bryce Aaron now in behind him as well. Noel Leon, who's been trying to fight tooth and nail against that of Levente Revesh, who's been thwarting him at every turn as they run down the Serralio straight. Charlie Wirtz now takes them through this very fast chicane, the fastest chicane on the circuit here at Ascari, as they dip through and now escalate, heading through the lefts and rights, the snake section that takes them down yet another back straight, before they then venture through towards the Kerber Alboreto. You can just see there the drag now pulling along Cian Shields, which will no doubt give him a very nice run in towards the Kerber Alboreto, which should tee up a nice run down the home straight. They'll soon venture, as now you see Wirtz putting the foot back down onto the power as they coast around Alboreto section. Shields now, he's going to raise them as he makes his way down the straight, leading down towards turn 1. He's going to have the run surely. He stays behind the rear wing, gets the drag, gets dragged over to the inside as well by Wirtz, but now Shields takes the outside, which will soon become the inside heading out of turn 2. They venture through wheel to wheel, but Wirtz defending once again thwarting Cian Shields at every turn.
Wirtz is doing a fantastic job, and Noel Leon has taken 5th place in the meanwhile. Fastest lap of the race set by Josh Dufek in 3rd. He's now on the back of the top 2, and it's side by side once again. Cian Shields with some fantastic momentum this time. Can he pull clear by the time they get to the braking zone? Yes, he can, and Cian Shields retakes the lead into the second chicane.
Fantastic move from Cian Shields, necessary. Of course, it was coming. He has been putting the pressure on Charlie Wirtz, who, whilst he was defending superbly, not able to quite pull off perhaps the defensive masterclass he could have done at the Rogier, but still, nonetheless, a great display from the Austrian. He now makes his way over the gravel, and that was Dufek. Josh Dufek just taking a little bit of a dirty road, heading through towards the Serralio straight, and now he's under pressure, this time big time from Bryce Aaron, who's going to look to the outside in towards Ascari this time around. It looks like he'll have the upper hand, and Bryce Aaron certainly does have the upper hand, back up to 3rd.
Brilliant stuff. Bryce Aaron back up into a podium place now, but this race is far from over. It's only lap 4 at the moment. We've still got a long way to go, and the slipstream tactics here, it's going to be about choosing the exact right moment to attack. And if they keep squabbling, then they'll stay in this pack like this, because I'll tell you, when they went over the line last time around, it was just 1.3 seconds covering the top 5. So let's see how close they all are when they get across the line this time. It is Cian Shields back leading leading once again, and Charlie Wirtz soaking up that slipstream and will pull to the outside for the first corner. Now, this is how he took the lead a few laps ago around the outside. Can he pull that same maneuver off again? Yes, and in even more exquisite fashion. It's a fantastic move there from Charlie Wirtz. He retakes the lead, but Cian Shields is going to come straight back at him, George.
He certainly will around the curve of Grande. Cian Shields, no doubt, who has been successful already, quickly moves to the inside as they head around curve of Grande. He'll take the lead before the Rogier. Great move indeed from Cian Shields. For a brief moment, it was Wirtz on top. Now it's Shields. They're switching. Bryce Aaron looking to the outside line as well, heading through the Rogier chicane. But it's Cian Shields who once again takes the lead. But we've got to say, race control have issued. Fastest lap of number 69, that of course going to Joshua Dufek. He's been quick, but a reprimand has been issued to Charlie Wirtz for the driving standards on the opening lap.
Wow, so he's got away with it, with a slap on the wrist. So this will stand then. This is a real battle for the lead. No timing penalties being applied there for Wirtz's aggression at the first corner. And Wirtz, like, tucking in behind, doesn't want to pass him into Ascari, won't want to pass him into the final corner either, I would imagine. He'll want to do it into either turn one or maybe even the second chicane, just to try and see if he can pull as much of a gap as possible before the next straight. Bryce Aaron right in this fight as well there with the white wings. And yes, look, Noel Leon trying to get up on the inside of Josh Dufek. Now, Dufek was able to keep Noel Leon at bay for the majority of the race at Red Bull Ring last time out. Noel Leon still went on to win it, but let's enjoy the resumption of this battle, because it was certainly a brilliant one. And look at this, Wirtz under pressure now from Bryce Aaron for second place. Wirtz will have the inside line, but also picking up the slipstream from the race leader. It's actually turned into an overtaking opportunity, and Charlie Wirtz, having been under pressure for second place just a few hundred meters prior, now retakes the lead again. And look at this, Dufek trying to get back up into third on Bryce Aaron.
Yeah, and Noel Leon as well, who's also cut into the inside. Fastest lap for Francesco Simonazzi, who rejoins the circuit after being stuck in the pit lane. But look at this side by side again. Charlie Wirtz has to go defensive into the Rogier still as he comes under convincing pressure from Cian Shields, who has done moves here before. Again, more moves being made. We're seeing cars jumble up further back. I think Josh Dufek might have been swallowed up here as they make their way through. Revesh there. You can just see Bryce Aaron getting swallowed up, should I say, heading through the Rogier section. Just take a look at this, because Noel Leon is on a charge. He's now up into fourth place, and right in behind that of Joshua Dufek, who's still in third. He's closing down the championship leader. It's not over yet. 11 laps to go. Sit tight. You're in for a treat.
This is sensational racing, and we shouldn't have expected anything less. This series always provides us with some thrilling action. You stick them at Monza, and it's going to be a complete slipstreaming festival. Remember what happened at Spa as well. Such a long, flat-out section through Eau Rouge and up the Camel Straight. We saw the same thing there, and we're seeing it again here at Monza. Noel Leon looking to make another move now, this time on Josh Dufek. Couldn't get up the inside into the Parabolica, and that might have left him exposed down the front straight as well. But look how close he is now for third place.
Yeah, he certainly is, right on the tail of Joshua Dufek now. Fourth place, could yet become third, could become more by the end of this lap as well. The magnificent Mexican, the talented young man who is in the fight for the title. Charlie Wirtz once again going defensive against that of Cian Shields. And look at this, still side by side between P3 and 4 as Noel Leon takes the long way round. That is stunning, utterly stunning from Noel Leon. Sent it around the outside. It became the inside out of turn 2. Magician work from Noel Leon, the mastermind from Mexico. He's back again.
But Dufek's going to come back at him into the second chicane though, George, and he's going to be forced a long way round as Shields once again looks for the lead. And look at that, Dufek's taken third place back again, completely outdragged him and outbraked him on the outside line.
You can't take your eyes off this, folks. Lesmo 1 and 2 to come. Charlie Wirtz, who is still defending here at this point. There's Simonazzi on the tail, 2 laps down, but he's still in behind the pack here.
But he's back on track, but he's also setting fastest lap after fastest lap, because this lot are too busy knocking 7 bells out of each other. So he's going to be on the back of this train, not for position, but I've no doubt he'll want to get involved.
Well, without any shadow of a doubt, Charlie Wirtz has actually managed to create himself some breathing space here as well. A little bit of breathing space. I'm not going to say there's a lot, but it's more than where it has been over the last few laps, because Cian Shields has been riding his rear wing now for quite some time. Shields though also under pressure because Dufek who doesn't really want to be pressurised too much by our championship leader, Noel Leone. Obviously would much prefer to see his car up into second place. And now they're all in tandem once again, heading through Kerber Arboreto, which could yet charge up a move for Dufek, heading down the long straight, perhaps can gamble off the back of Charlie Wirtz up at the front end. Of course, looking further back, you can see there as well Noel Leone, who is now part of this 4-car scrap that we have starting to unfurl up at the top end now. Charlie Wirtz diverting to the inside, paddock side, pit lane side, as now they burst down towards turn 1. And now opening the door, Cian Shields also swarming all over the back is Josh Dufek, who is looking every which way to find a way through. Wirtz once again managing to defend the onslaught, but back comes Cian Shields, who I arguably say had a better exit than Charlie Wirtz out of turn 2.
Yeah, so he'll be back in the slipstream. He refuses to go around the outside of the first corner, unlike Wirtz. He prefers to make the move here on the Curva Grande and then into the second chicane at Della Roggia. And it's working for him because he's squeezing him over to the grass. And going past both of them was Josh Dufek.
Incredible move from Josh Dufek. 2 for the price of 1 through the Roggia chicane. He was P3. He now leads this race side by side as well between Levente Ravesh and Bryce Aaron, who's also looking to try and elevate his possession as well. Ravesh unable to make the move. Bryce Aaron consolidates his place coming out of Lesmo 2. Simonazzi just watching all this unfold right in front of him here. Serralio Straight coming up next, but a great stacked defensive effort from Bryce Aaron. But now it's Josh Dufek who leads the way.
Yeah, so we've got a different complexion now for the first time in this race. Josh Dufek hits the front. I mean, Shields and Wirtz were too busy watching each other. So look at this, Shields is squeezing him. He's so focused on Wirtz, and Dufek with the clean line around the outside says, thank you very much, I'll have both of you. What a move!
And it was absolutely stellar. Just see the scenes in the motor park garage, of course, very pensive looking Timo Rothkyle. Of course, with a plethora of cars in this race event, and naturally all of them fighting it out. Of course, the last thing he wants is too much damage, I think, is probably what he's
worried about the repair bill.
Have a look at this. Noel Leone, fresh from starting 6th on the grid, championship leader, is now going for the moves here on Charlie Wirtz, who is now not only going defensive, but also wants a piece here of Cian Shields. Remember, these two were scrapping it out, but that was for the lead of the race. As now Charlie Wirtz extends, he takes P2.
Leone's round!
Noel Leone! Contact out of turn 2. They came together. It was like a concertina effect. Wirtz got contact, Cian Shields got contact, but so did Noel Leone, and there's an issue.
Bryce Aaron's got a smoking front tyre as well. Oh, goodness me, it was going to end in tears at some point, wasn't it, George? They were just too close together, all those cars, and it's ended up with our championship leader facing the wrong way, and Bryce Aaron looks like he's going to have to park that car.
Absolutely, the smoke billowing out off the tyre, and you can just see the tyre peeling away.
The wing's cutting into the tyre.
It is.
As well. So
it won't be there much longer.
Yeah, this is great news for Dufek, because he's pulled about half a second in all of that while they were squabbling. So first got to get his head down. Oh, yeah, this is... Oh, my goodness, there's much more damage on Noel Leone's car than I initially suspected there. So it's all on the right-hand side. Unfortunately, the safety car has been deployed. So, wow, that's going to be a relief for Wirtz, because that's going to put him back on Dufek's tail. But, wow, yeah, it was all too close. Concertina effect, as you mentioned there, George. And, wow, that must be only the second retirement for Noel Leone after what happened
here's the replay now.
Castellet.
I mean, you could just see from here, obviously, great move from Wirtz, I think. Nothing necessarily wrong with that. I just think they all got caught up. And like I said, concertina effect. There was Noel Leone who got, I think, caught from behind.
Yeah.
He ended up going into the back of Cian Shields. And obviously, Cian Shields could do nothing about that. He got lurched forward. I think there might have been a slight brush with Wirtz's car from the rear. But there we can see. And obviously, it all stemmed from Bryce Aaron, I think, in behind as well.
Well, Wirtz has barely got it stopped going for the move. He's only just about got it into the corner. So he has to take such a tight line through the left, which means Shields has to check up so he doesn't run into the back of him. And I think, as you pointed out, George, he did just brush him ever so slightly. And then, of course, Noel Leone arrives at sort of full pace, and he has to check up himself, and Bryce Aaron just goes straight into the back of him, and they're having to take the straight line through the runoff area there, which is no, it has been removed. Okay, I thought for a second I thought somebody must have plowed straight through them, but yeah, so they're having to avoid where Noel Leone's car is, and that is only the second retirement for Noel Leone, and of course disappointment for Bryce Aaron as well, who has managed to limp back to the pits. I wonder if they will stick a new tyre on it and a new front wing and send him back out just so we can get some mileage. Nope, he's getting out of the car. He's had enough for one race and he'll be back out hopefully this afternoon. There we get a good look at the front left suspension damage there as well.
It is visibly bent, as you can see, and obviously no matter putting a new tyre on that, you won't recover that car, should we say. It will not be making its way back out onto the circuit. We of course just saw Bryce Aaron. You can see the bend, in fact, just there on the nearest wishbone, the suspension arm. That you can see.
The element behind it as well was fairly badly damaged.
It was, and unfortunately the tyre, with it being obviously bent out of shape, of course rubbing with that front wing, then of course causing an unnecessary groove, which might have been useful in the wet conditions yesterday, but obviously not today while we're under a dry conditions.
Yes, so that means Josh Dufek leads, Charlie Wirtz, Cian Shields in third, Levente Ravesh in fourth, and Francesco Simonazzi will be fifth in a couple of laps' time when he unlaps himself. But he'll still be 2 laps behind the 4 cars in front of him. So one of these 4 is going to end up incredibly disappointed not to end up on the podium.
Yes, and I think there's one driver who really needs to make a move here, and that's the man who's P2 in the championship, Cian Shields, because obviously the points deficit now between himself and Noah Leone is out to 73 at this point. Noah Leone's sat in 6th in this placement, so there's a great chance here for Cian Shields. If he can get the win, he can claim maximum points here and at the same time close onto the championship.
Certainly could do. He's third in this queue at the moment. What is going to happen when we go green once again? Josh Dufek will lead them out to the final corner shortly. The safety car has come in. He's still weaving the tyres, though is Dufek. Now he decides to go for it, put his foot to the floor, and we're back underway at Monza, where we will have 6 laps left to decide who will be the victor in this reverse grid race. And Dufek's got a very nice jump off the line. He's 7/10 clear by the time they got to the timing line already. And Wirtz is trying to follow in the slipstream, but Shields is closer. He'll be the one challenging by the time they get to the first corner, surely. Looking up the inside, but can't do anything with it. And the status quo has been maintained as we head through the first chicane.
Yeah, no changes up at the sharp end. Joshua Dufek now still leads them through half a second now between himself and Charlie Wirtz. That gap still remains reasonable, but still Wirtz closing in. And in behind you, you've got Cian Shields in 3rd place. There's a little gap starting to develop now between them and Levente Ravesh in 4th, who's got a little bit of work to do. Simonazzi, who is still considerably behind. He's got 2 laps as well to find as well. Noah Leone has got the same, as now we see them come through turns 1 and 2 on the safety car restart, heading through the first chicane.
Yeah, I love these little slow-mo shots we get during these races. Levente Ravesh there in 4th place, but they're heading out of Lesmo 2 now, so there'll be another slipstreaming opportunity here as they head down towards Ascari. Josh Dufek, Charlie Wirtz, but 2 drivers who made their debuts in this championship just 2 weeks ago suddenly find themselves running 1 and 2 in this race, and a great chance here for both of them to take their maiden victory in the series, and both of them looking to get, well, first of all, experience in a Dallara chassis compared to the Tata chassis that they use in the Formula Regional Championship, but both of them desperately advertising their services for the FIA Formula 3 Championship as well. And actually, as is Cian Shields in 3rd place in this queue as well. So they're all hoping to bag themselves a seat higher up the single-seater ladder for next year. And if you believe the rumours in the paddock, there are a few of them who could well be making their way up to the Formula 1 support bill next year. But for now, we will focus on the remaining 5 laps in this race. Josh Dufek just trying to break the toe a little bit on the main straight, but Charlie Wirtz doesn't look like he's close enough. He still has a little look, though, it tries to distract Josh Dufek in the mirrors. We're going to have to try harder than that if you want to beat Josh Dufek.
You certainly do. Race Control have come out and said after investigation, the incident involving that of Bryce Aaron and Noah Leone will deem no further action on that one, so no fault deemed by the stewards. As now we're seeing the cars now make their way down through towards the next chicane, the second chicane, and now in comes Wirtz again. A very late move, but he managed to capitalise upon it and has taken the lead now straight away with 5 laps to go. A stellar showing indeed, and breaking past out of Joshua Dufek, coming out of the Curva Grande and just lit it up, heading through down towards the Rogier. Now finds himself in first place with now Dufek reduced down to second.
Yeah, I said you needed to try harder to get past Dufek, and actually I think that little move just forced Dufek the tiniest bit wide, and that allowed Wirtz to get the run down the Curva Grande, but a brilliant late braking manoeuvre there. And look at it, you can throw a blanket over these 3 cars at the moment. Revesh has fallen off the order. He's about 6 seconds back, so he's had some issue somewhere because Simonazzi's gone past him as well. So we're looking at these 3 cars with just over 4 laps remaining for the victor in race number 2 in round 6. And is Dufek going to go up the inside here? Now, we haven't seen a move at Parabolica just yet, but Dufek's going to try and make this one work, and Shields is going to follow him through as well into second place. They're going to go side by side across the line here, and Shields is going to have the tow from Dufek as well. If he tucks in here, yes he does, and Shields could now go for the lead. He is going for the lead. He'll be on the outside line for the first corner. He's tried this on Wirtz. He hasn't made it work before. Can he make it work on Dufek? How good is the brake in there? Oh, Dufek's going to go deep into the corner. He just about got it stopped, and he hangs on to the lead just about, but Shields is going to have a mega run here, George.
He will, outside of the, well, sitting the outside line through Curva Grande. Charlie Wirtz as well in behind, but look at Cian Shields, who has been here before, challenged Charlie Wirtz at this very segment. We saw Wirtz do exactly the same thing earlier on in our previous lap as well, but in comes now Cian Shields to try and take the lead away from Josh Dufek, side by side through the Rogier. Very rarely enough room. Wirtz has to back off, but a stout bit of defending again, and look at Simonazzi, who's trying to unlap himself. He's trying to break past Charlie Wirtz. I think he might him as well, you know, still side by side. Wirtz saying no, you can't go through, but Simonazzi denying or denied at every turn, heading through the middle sector.
Wirtz will not appreciate that at all, because look at the gap. He's losing out now to Shields, and Dufek has got to hope they scrap a little bit so they can get on the back of them again. And oh dear, it looks like problems here for Levente Revesh. His debut weekend seemingly still struggling there, and it looks to be out in this second race now. So what has Cian Shields got in his pocket here? There'll be 3 laps to go when they go across the stripe after this next right-hander, and Dufek here again trying to break the toe as much as he possibly can. If they start squabbling, that'll let Wirtz catch back up to them.
Yeah, certainly will. Cian Shields now will have the toe heading down the long straight, still leading no Joshua Dufek, and you've got to give him credit. That was a truly remarkable defensive effort on that previous lap, heading through the Rogier section. It's very easy to get caught heading through there, not easy to go too wide, and give them credit. They both gave space and gave themselves a chance, but Cian Shields now aggressively looking on the outside line. Now Charlie Wirtz watching all this unfold. Dufek again defending the place, but still it will allow Cian Shields to perhaps come straight back at him once again this time, heading through the Curva Grande. Just look at the exit that Shields had. Certainly was a lot better than what Dufek had heading out of turn 2, heading around turn 3, turn 4 and 5 comes up next. There's Levente Revesh, who's just come out the pit lane. Look at this, so side by side again. Cian Shields with the inside line heading through the Rogier. He has a nose in front, a car in front. It's now Cian Shields back into P1. He retakes the lead here at Monza.
At this point, they've really got to start thinking about when they start playing their cards. I don't think you want to be leading at the start of the last lap, George, because the slipstream's just proving to be too powerful. Unless you can play it absolutely right and time the move to perfection, this could well be a drag to the finish line as well. And look, Wirtz back in this as well now that Shields has made that manoeuvre. He's looking at second place now as they run up to Ascari, and then look at defense here from Josh Dufek, but Wirtz, well, he just about found the inside line, but had to back out of it as well. And they're coming up on Levente Revesh now as well. Hopefully he isn't going to cause too much trouble here, because we've got the leaders coming through. And look at it, Simonazzi still trying to find a way through into this as well and get past Charlie Wirtz. 2 laps to go now as Dufek takes a very tight line through the Parabolica. This has just been sensational to watch. An absolute masterclass in racecraft displayed here by these drivers. And look at this, Charlie Wirtz looks very, very close indeed. Only 2 tenths behind Dufek as they went over the timing line. And he's taking in that slipstream very nicely indeed, getting the double toe, in fact, but Dufek is the one attacking into the first corner. Shields locks up. Did he get it stopped? Just about, but Dufek, I think, will have a better run through the Curva Grande here, and towards the second chicane we go.
Yeah, round Curva Grande again. Still, it's Cian Shields on top, but the inside will become favourable here for Joshua Dufek, who looks to try and tackle Cian Shields for the lead of the race, but will, of course, suffer the consequences. Oh, very aggressive switch.
He's taking his front wing off.
Wing damage there for Joshua Dufek. It was a very big moment, a bold moment, and just switched over the rear. Not quite sure what happened, but it looks like a puncture might be on the back of the car as well. Just taking a look at this smoke billowing.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, Shields has got a puncture because he's been hit by the back, and smoking tyres for Dufek as well. I think that's just the wing rubbing up against him. Who are we going to have left in this race, George? Because Charlie Wirtz is the only driver at the moment on the lead lap with an undamaged car.
This is an absolutely unbelievable race. Certainly we have 3 cars fighting over the lead, and here comes Charlie Wirtz now, who will surely look to take the lead of the race and prize it away from Josh Dufek. He does in only his second round, his second weekend in Euroformula action. Here's the replay, Chris.
Yeah, completely misjudged it. He's tried to sell the dummy, and it would have been fantastic, but he's misjudged the distance or the closing speed there and gone into the back of Shields' car. And Dufek's not taking this lying down. He's still going for the win. He is going to drag every last bit of performance out of this car despite its damage. 1 lap to go here at Monza, and Dufek is trying to drag this damaged car to victory still, side by side down the main straight. Simonazzi getting involved as well. He's saying, see you later, chaps. I know I'm a lap down, but you guys squabble amongst yourselves. So Wirtz will have the inside line here. Dufek locks up with that, losing the front downforce. Wirtz gets back past Simonazzi, who's effectively a ghost car in this battle. And I think, George, that might be all she wrote in this battle, because look at the wing. It's wobbling around like crazy. I'll be worrying about it flying off.
Yeah, Simonazzi certainly has no friends in this fight, of course, now brushing up and breezing past Joshua Dufek, and Charlie Wirtz can now breathe a sigh of relief. He has the lead of the race. He, of course, a spectator to all the chaos that happened only a lap prior. Joshua Dufek and Cian Shields coming together. Shields sustaining will look to be a visible puncture, with Josh Dufek unfortunately sustaining wing damage and losing crucial downforce that could have made all the difference come the end of this race. And now on the final lap, it's Charlie Wirtz with a rich heritage in his own family's history of racing. We have seen Alexandra Wirtz in Formula One, of course, representing the Benetton team alongside the likes of Jenson Button, but now this time around, as we see the car stagnant on the left-hand side, the tyre shredded on the back of Cian Shields' car, they peel through Ascari once again, and Wirtz is going to take it home.
Also, it's still and only, his second full season of single-seater racing, the 2022 F4 UAE champion, man who started this year winning the Formula Regional Oceania Championship, is going to come out on top in what has been one of the craziest Euroformula Open races we have ever seen. For the first time, Charlie Wirtz is going to get across the line and takes the victory at Monza. He is victorious in race number 2 in round 6. Joshua Dufek drags that car home in second place, and now we're going to have to wait an awful long time to see who's actually going to be in third place. I think it will be Levente Ravesh, because he lost less time in the pits. Cian Shields has parked up, so it definitely won't be him. Whereas Simonazzi's come across the line confirmed in 5th place, so it will be Ravesh technically on the podium, despite him coming into the pits and losing a lap. But wow, what a race!
A truly, I've got to say, an angry look on the face of Cian Shields. For understandable cause, I think, but in all that.
Well, he's done nothing wrong.
Yeah, he was very much a bystander, I think, in all that fray. And Josh Dufek, unfortunately, I think there's going to be some words exchanged.
That incident is under investigation.
Yeah, there was a very abrupt swap from Dufek heading through towards the Roger chicane. I think it goes without saying. And Francesco Simonazzi taking on the fastest lap. You can actually hear the front wing grinding on the tarmac of the circuit, as you can just see Dufek rounding the second Lesmo now.
So Simonazzi bags the bonus point for fastest lap as well, because he was in clean air during all that, wasn't getting involved in squabbling until right at the end there. And listen to the wing just scraping along the ground. That is one of the craziest races I've ever seen, let alone commentated on.
It was absolutely extraordinary, and you can just see there Dufek just fighting with the car slightly, obviously with the broken front wing, causing a little bit of havoc with his aero. Simonazzi, I think, will be disappointed in his own right. Of course, he was caught up in some of the chaos that happened on the opening lap. Had a great chance, certainly showed promise. Over to you, though, Chris.
For the first time in Euroformula Open, it's Charlie Verts victorious. A Crypto Tower 1-2. Really, the only two cars left standing at the end of that one, with Josh Dufek dragging home a damaged car in second place. Levente Ravesh is third on his debut weekend, despite having to come into the pits with some sort of technical issue. Kian Shields, though, a DNF. Simonazzi was 2 laps down, and DNS for Bryce Aaron and Noel Leon as well. This is what it's done to the championship standings. Still a 67-point gap between Noel Leon and Kian Shields because he didn't score points. But Francesco Simonazzi now moves up to third in the standings. Charlie Verts and Josh Dufek now 8th and 9th after finishing 1-2 in that race. An astonishing performance from Charlie Verts nonetheless. And he was brilliant from the get-go.
He was.
Aggressive at the first corner, but he was the one making the sensational moves to get up ahead of initially Kian Shields and then also with Dufek. And I think regardless of what else has happened in that race, this is a well-earned victory for Charlie Verts.
Yeah, he was, I think in places he was aggressive, in places he was patient, and that was the difference maker. He is an experienced driver who has won races in the past. The Oceania Championship, his F4 form, of course, historically has been sensational, has competed in the Formula Regional European Championship as well in seasons gone by, but obviously looking to try and recapture something that he might have lost in recent times, and now a victor here at Monza in the Euroformula Open Championship and representing the Motor Park team in great style, and he will be absolutely thrilled with that. Obviously, Josh Dufek bringing home a second-place finish. Levente Ravesh classified in third place ahead of Kian Shields.
Yes, the Hungarian in his first weekend in the championship. Yeah, probably not the podium finish he was anticipating going into the weekend, but nonetheless, he's up there. And this is a big moment for Charlie Verts, a very talented young man who's clearly had a lot of influence from his old man, the ex-F1 and Le Mans star, Alex.
Man, I'm so pissed the safety car came.
Oh, apologies for the language there from Josh Dufek. Obviously very unhappy with the timing of the safety car. We often have to watch their language in these Euroformula ones. They do get a bit emotional, don't they? But there you go, the celebrations there for the celebrations from the team. It's Charlie Verts who's come out on top for the first time in the Euroformula Open Championship. Second place is Joshua Dufek, but Charlie is downstairs with Alfredo Filippone.
Charlie Woods, winner of race 2 here at Monza, a very lively race. You really wanted this one, huh?
Yeah, I really went for it. I mean, nothing really to lose since I'm not in the championship. I was going, I think, trying to go every corner for the move, fighting so much. I mean, that was one of the most stressful but exciting races of my life, actually, because every corner was fighting. The slipstream in the sky is so massive. So it was really crazy, but really enjoyable as well.
We lost the count of how many times the lead changed, but it was great fighting.
Yeah, great fighting. I think it was almost corner by corner. The lead was changing to T1, then to T4. So it was definitely a lot of fun, bit of stress, but to come out on top is always, yeah, amazing.
Well done. Enjoy the moment.
Thank you.
Well, I don't think we've got enough time for all the highlights, but we'll give you what we can. It was Kian Shields who led the way from reverse grid pole position, and the run down towards turn 1. It was Simonazzi who looked like he was going to be the aggressor into the first corner to try and take second place away from Ravesh, but steaming up the inside was Charlie Verts, making contact with Ravesh and Simonazzi, but he came away with second place and very quickly hunted after the race leader Kian Shields. And he initially made the move earlier on, but this was Dufek taking both of them into the second chicane with a sensational pass. He made his mark in this race as the cars behind him began to squabble. As Wirtz retook second place, this was the moment that took Noel Leon out of the running, contact with Shields, and then Bryce Aaron pitching him round as well. As Wirtz tried to regain the lead on Dufek. He swapped hands more times than we could possibly count. Dufek got up the inside into the Parabolica. Shields followed him through initially, but Dufek went very, very wide into the first corner, and that gave Shields a bit of a run as well. This was the big drama towards the end of the race. Dufek getting into the back of Cian Shields, damaging his front wing and taking Shields out of the running as well as he tried to take the place back again. And this was Wirtz. This ended up being the race-winning move with Dufek carrying front wing damage, and that is how Charlie Wirtz took his first victory in the Euroformula Open Championship. A sensational performance. And Dr. Helmut Marko might have said there's no good Austrian talent coming up through the order. I dare say him to reconsider Charlie Wirtz.
Well, a fantastic result for him, and standing tall on third placing on the podium is Levente Revesh. Of course, debut weekend in the Euroformula Open Championship this weekend. Of course, Joshua Dufek, also all three of these drivers, incidentally, coming across from the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, and we now have the national anthems.
Well, we've heard the Austrian national anthem an awful lot in Formula One this year. Some saying they're getting a bit sick of hearing it, but I think I've enjoyed hearing it today for that young man, Charlie Wirtz, who's done a sensational job. His second appearance on the podium since he made his debut at the last round at Red Bull Ring. He was second in race 2 in that round, and he's come out on the top step today. For Josh Dufek as well, it's his third time on the fourth time, I should say, actually, on the podium, including yesterday's race. And of course for Levente Revesh, the first time for him in only his second race in this series. We'll pose for the photos, but George, the Euroformula is going to round out the running here later today. We've got race 3 coming up at the end of the day, which is at 5:25 local time. I feel like that's going to be the one to set fireworks off here at Monza.
Well, there's going to be some work done in the garages as well prior to us going racing this afternoon as well. So the teams are going to be very busy, and hopefully we get to see another clinic.
Well, we'll see you for that race number 3 at 5:25 a little later on. You won't want to miss it. We'll see you then.